She says, in order to get across the poison river, we have to take risks. We often have to make changes in our lives. And one of the things she talks about, to swim the poison river, we have to travel lightly. She often talks about in the American culture that one of the things that keeps us from answering the call that God has for us is that we have all of this stuff that we've collected. Whether it be the way we've chosen to live with our material possessions, whether it's with our own ego stuff, maybe it's with, we've built up a good practice, we know who we are, we've done our work, and yet the call often invites us to leave all of that behind and to make some choice for who we're going to be, if we're going to choose what God is inviting us to be. This call for Esther comes from Mordecai, and she knows exactly what she needs to do. And she's faced with the choice, and for her it is a potential choice to die or not to die. But the irony is that we think to make that choice, to live into what God is going to call us, is going to be too painful or difficult. And yet, if we choose not to do that, that is when the true death happens. If you choose to not allow the person that you are becoming to fully actualize, then you slowly begin to kill your own soul. Mordecai said that. Mordecai said, God will save the Jews from some other place. And so often, it's God's work of shalom in the world is not dependent upon us. God does that in the world. That shalom is manifesting in the world all the time, with or without us. But if we choose not to participate, then we choose to not fully be who God invites us to be. We choose to slowly die. The choices are not just choices about, will God's shalom get created in the world? Because that happens. God does that. The question is, will we choose to fully participate? Will we choose to fully become who God is calling us to be? And at times, we have to choose. What is it we choose? That's for us to discern. It may be choosing to go back to school. The choice to take out that loan. It may be a choice to file divorce papers. It may be a choice to go and talk to your boss and say, I can't do this anymore. God is inviting me to be something else. I have to be here, but be here in a different way. It may be a choice to not sit with certain people in the cafeteria. It may be a choice to not be friends with certain people. It may be a choice to be a friend to someone. It may be a choice to start a new intentional community that you've been discerning. God is inviting you to significantly change your lifestyle of how you eat. It may be a choice to become a vegetarian. God forbid. But then that choice means you have to live differently. You can't carry all of that stuff with you anymore. You have to choose to live differently. And that choice is the choice for life. If you want to gain your life, lose it. If you want to keep your life, live it abundantly, then lose it. The great paradox. And so Esther makes the choice for life, that I will choose to live because of such a time as this. This statement that our children led us in for such a time as this is a powerful question. What is this time that we live in? What is the cry of the world that we live in? What is the deep cry in your life, asking to be heard? What is this new life that is crying and wanting to be born in you? And as Frederick Buechner says, that cry in the world connects to why you are where you are. Esther was challenged to look around and say, you are in the king's palace for such a time as this. You have been gifted for such a time as this. It is no mistake that you are where you are in your life for such a time as this. Love has brought you to where you are for such a time as this. It is no mistake that we live in the richest, most powerful country in the world, that we are some of the most educated, globally connected people on the face of the earth, like no time in history has ever known, that we have material prosperity, that we are healthy, that we are full, that we are happy for such a time as this. And if we choose not to respond, then we choose to atrophy our very own soul. For such a time as this, we live, and we have been blessed. And we have come into our own ego and our own self-confidence, and we live blessed lives for such a time as this. What is this time for you? It is an extremely important question. And it will ask your life of you. So, the poison river that flows from the very waters of baptism that we choose to place upon our heads, that we choose to baptize our children with, is a moment of choice. Will you be the beloved? Will you choose to fully give birth to what wants to be born in you? Or will you choose something else? Gracious One, come and remind us again of who we are. Reclaim us for such a time as this. And Spirit, help us to respond fully and faithfully with our very lives, just as the one we follow, and just as we pray in the name of Christ.